Hi everyone. Today we're going to be addressing the high cost of maintaining SOAR that some customers experience, be it the financial cost, the personnel, or the time cost. D3's approach to this is dynamic data normalization, and this is unique to D3 Smart SOAR across the SOAR industry. And customers who use this feature, they experience a much easier deployment and a much lighter management requirements throughout the project. So, what are the challenges with traditional SOAR tools? They have high maintenance requirements. This means that they require skilled engineers and developers or constant vendor support in order to build playbooks and manage the platform. Second challenge is that playbooks get overly complicated. There are multiple paths for each alert type because each alert has a different structure, and therefore the complexity increases dramatically when you add more alert types, more data sources, and just more different alert structures. And the third is it requires constant monitoring and oversight. So your engineers are distracted from your strategic tasks, and you're left wondering where your profits from automation went. Why do these challenges exist? It's because these SOAR tools do not have dynamic data normalization. This means that each alert is processed as a standalone event, and there's no standardization upon data ingestion. This means that heavy coding is required to reformat the data if you are able to reformat it at all, and your playbooks become overly complicated and error prone when trying to handle all of these different alert structures. Workflows break with new alert formats, and that just means your cost of maintenance increases and increases, diverting your resources away from critical tasks. Now, here are an example of two workflows, one with dynamic data normalization on the left-hand side and one without it. You can see that in the playbook without it, it requires 3 unique tasks for each alert format. And now if you start to multiply this by the number of alert types and formats you have, as well as the number of playbook tasks you may need in order to process those alerts, these playbooks can get out of hand extremely quickly. Now, if you compare that with the playbook that does implement dynamic data normalization on the left-hand side, you can see a 67% reduction in playbook size. This is because all of the alerts are fed through a standardization queue before they hit the workflow, and therefore these 3 playbook tasks all just need to handle the exact same structure that it's being fed. So what are some of the core differences between D3 Smart SOAR and other SOAR tools? The first is that D3 implements dynamic data normalization while others do not. This means that these other tools are processing alerts individually as standalone events, and they require heavy coding in order to reformat that data. Now, the dynamic data normalization configuration in Smart SOAR is entirely configurable, which means it's tailored to your needs, and it's dynamic, which means it adapts in real time to new data formats. The second difference in usability is in playbook complexity. Now, within D3 Smart SOAR, you have simplified playbooks with one workflow path. You can see up to a 90% reduction in your playbook size when migrating from another SOAR tool. On other SOAR tools, you have complicated playbooks with multiple paths and increased maintenance and potential for errors when you start ingesting new data. And the final difference is your maintenance overhead. With dynamic data normalization, you have reduced maintenance at the ingestion level, and your engineers can focus on more strategic tasks, and your personnel can focus on securing your environment. On other SOAR tools, there are high maintenance demands with constant monitoring required, and your engineers are burdened with oversight and troubleshooting. Now I'll go into the platform and I'll show you specifically how dynamic data normalization is implemented in Smart SOAR. Here we are inside of D3 Smart SOAR, where we'll go over the differences in workflows with dynamic data normalization and without it. So here we are in the more complicated workflow. We can see 3 different alert formats, and for each unique alert format, you have your 3 unique data enrichment tasks or artifact enrichment tasks. We have user, device, and IPs that we're interested in here. Now, the reason there are unique paths for each alert format is because the dynamic input for playbook tasks requires a specific path to that data. So in this case, if we want the username, we're going to look at the return data from the task before it and the .username variable. If we want the same value from alert format 2, we need to go to the .user variable. This is because inside of alert format 1, this is the structure of the raw data. The value we want is in .username. And in alert format 2, the value we want is in .user. And in alert format 3, the value we want is in .loginattempt.username. So imagine having 3 different data sources, all with a user value that you want to push through a workflow, and you want to ingest them all into the same playbook. Of course, that's what you want to do. That's what makes playbook management much easier. If you don't have dynamic data normalization, you need to create a unique workflow for each of your alert structures. This is going to magnify the complexity as soon as you start adding more data sources, different alert types, more enrichment tasks, and then response actions after it. Now let's compare this to a workflow with dynamic data normalization. Here you can see it's much simpler. Although there is one standard data structure, the tasks after it all need to point to a higher level event structure rather than the raw data of the alert itself. So here you can see that the path we're looking for is in .events.user. It's not in .return-data.user. That's because the events data schema is our standardized schema for all alerts when they come into D3 Smart SOAR. For the device enrichment task, it's similar. We're pointing to the higher level event structure, which contains the device ID. And for your IP reputation, we're pointing to the higher level event structure, which contains your source asset IP. So with this, there's really no limit to the number of data sources you can push through a single playbook. And that's really our goal with Smart SOAR, is to simplify your ongoing maintenance, reduce the number of platform engineers you need in order to build and maintain these playbooks, and reduce the complexity of your SOAR playbooks so that you can really reap the benefits from automation.